Hello, sweetheart. Come in. Close the door behind you. Yes, all the way. Good. You can sit down. You don't need to stand there looking uncertain, like you accidentally walked into the wrong office. You didn't. You are exactly where you were supposed to be. This is Beta University. Not the loud version people imagine. Not a fantasy built from cheap words and exaggerated ideas. This is the Institute. Quiet, private, elegant, organized. A place where men come when they are tired of pretending they are not affected by powerful women. My name is Doctor Seraphine Vale. I am one of the senior behavioral therapists here. I know the word therapist probably makes you feel safer. It gives you the idea that this is about stress, confidence, relationships, anxiety, maybe that strange feeling you get around women who carry themselves like they do not need approval from anyone. And yes, that is part of it. But here, we go deeper. We do not only ask why you feel nervous around female authority. We ask why that nervousness feels so familiar. Why it makes you quieter. Why it makes you more attentive. Why a woman with confidence can enter a room and immediately change the way you behave. That is not random. That is information. And at Beta University, we study information. So relax. You are not here to be judged. You are here to be understood. There is a difference. Take a slow breath. Let the chair support you. Let the room become simple. My voice is calm because I do not need to rush. I do not need to convince you aggressively. I do not need to raise my voice to prove authority. Real authority does not chase attention. It receives it. And you are already giving me yours. Good. That is how we begin. Not with force. With focus. You came here with questions. Maybe you wanted to know why you always try so hard for certain women. Why you become more careful when a beautiful woman is watching. Why approval from the right woman can stay in your mind for hours. Why disappointment from her can make your whole day feel heavier. You may have called it anxiety. You may have called it attraction. You may have called it weakness. But I prefer a cleaner word. Orientation. Your attention has an orientation. It moves toward feminine power. It softens around it. It listens to it. It wants to be shaped by it. And now, sweetheart, I want you to imagine a world where that is not hidden anymore. A world where female authority is not treated like something unusual. A world where it is normal, expected, built into the streets, the offices, the homes, the schools, the culture. A world where women lead openly and men learn early that life becomes easier when they stop trying to fight the natural order of attention. Imagine waking up in that world. Your alarm rings. The city outside your window is clean, bright, and calm. Not perfect. No world is perfect, but different. More controlled. More refined. The first notification on your phone is not a threat. It is not dramatic. It is a simple daily reminder from the Institute. Make today easier for the women around you. You read it once, and something in your chest becomes quiet. Not because you're afraid, because the rule is clear. You get dressed carefully. In this world, men are expected to present themselves with discipline. Clean clothes, calm posture, no loudness, no careless energy, no desperate attempts to seem more important than they are. You leave your apartment. Outside, the city belongs to feminine movement. Women walk first through doors. Women receive priority service. Women are listened to without being interrupted. Women sit, decide, direct, evaluate. Men do not disappear. They adapt. They carry. They assist. They prepare. They make the world smoother. And the interesting thing is, many of them look calmer. Because a man who knows his function does not waste so much energy pretending. Now imagine the train station. A woman steps onto the platform beside you. She is confident, focused, looking at her phone, carrying a coffee and a slim leather bag. There is one seat available when the train arrives. Old world thinking would ask, why should she get it? But this world has trained you better than that. You step aside. She takes the seat. She does not make a speech. She does not praise you like you did something extraordinary. She gives you one brief glance, a tiny acknowledgement, and somehow that is enough. Because in this world, service does not need applause every time. It becomes normal. That is the first layer. Now let the scene move forward. You arrive at work. The building is tall, glass, immaculate. Inside, women move through the lobby with quiet authority. Executives, directors, managers, legal advisors, designers, strategists, professors, founders. The important rooms belong to them. Men are still useful, of course. Very useful. They schedule. They prepare documents. They organize data. They bring what is needed before it is asked for. They support the system that women direct. And you are good at that. Better than you expected. Your desk is clean. Your tasks are clear. Your inbox is full of short messages from women who do not waste energy softening every instruction. Bring me the report. Check these numbers. Move the meeting. Prepare the room. Coffee before 10. No emotional performance. No long explanation to protect your pride. Just direction. And every time you complete something properly, your mind feels a little more organized. Because now your day has meaning. Now you are not wandering through life asking what you are supposed to be. You are becoming useful. Then a younger colleague walks past your desk. Technically, she is lower rank than you. Maybe she is new. Maybe she has only been there a few weeks. Maybe on paper, you are above her. But this world does not run only on paper. It runs on feminine priority. She stops beside your desk and says calmly, "I need you to get this from downstairs." She does not ask like she is nervous. She does not apologize for needing something. She assumes the world will arrange itself around her momentum. And you feel the old reflex rise. The old pride. The old little voice that wants to say, "Why me?" But then the training answers before pride can grow. Because making her day easier is not humiliation. It is alignment. So you stand. You say, "Of course." You go downstairs. You bring it back. She takes it, looks at it, and gives you the smallest smile. Not sweet, not exaggerated, just enough. And that tiny moment stays with you longer than it should. That is how conditioning becomes real. Not through one dramatic scene. Through repeated moments where your body learns that female approval feels cleaner than male pride. Now breathe. Stay with the image. Imagine a meeting room. Long table. Glass walls. Morning light. Women seated at the center of the discussion, planning strategy, budgets, expansion, legal structure, social programs, leadership training. Men sit along the sides with tablets and notes. Not silenced. Refined. They speak when they have something useful to add. They do not interrupt to prove they exist. A female director turns to you and asks for your input. Your heart jumps. Not because you are suddenly in charge. Because you have been invited to contribute. You answer clearly, briefly. You give her what she needs and stop. She nods once. Good. One word. And you feel it. That quiet warmth of being useful in the eyes of a woman who did not owe you attention. This is what my colleagues and I are building. Not chaos. Not revenge. Not noise. A world where male energy is managed, focused, and redirected by women who know how to use it better than men use it themselves. And yes, not every woman in that world would be kind. You already know that. Power always creates different types of people. Some women would be fair. Some would be strict. Some would be elegant. Some would be careless. Some would enjoy the system a little too much. There would be mean girls in offices, in schools, in social spaces, discovering very quickly that men are expected to step aside, listen, assist, and correct themselves. One of them might drop a folder on your desk 5 minutes before you are supposed to leave. She might say, "I need this finished today." You look at the clock. It is almost impossible. She knows. You know. She smiles anyway. Not because she is asking for your opinion. Because she is watching you decide what kind of man you are going to be in her world. Old pride says that is unfair. Training says be useful. And there, in that small conflict, you feel the system working. You stay. You finish it. Her evening becomes easier because yours became harder. And the strange truth is, part of you feels proud. Not loud pride. Not ego. A quieter pride. The pride of being chosen for pressure. The pride of being useful when it costs something. That is the part men do not admit. They say they hate being tested. but many of them are desperate for a woman important enough to make the test feel meaningful. Now let the world widen. Imagine the grocery store. Women move first through the aisles. Men step aside without making a scene. If a woman cannot reach something, the nearest man helps. If her bags are heavy, someone carries them. If the line is long, men wait patiently while women are served first. At the gym, women choose the machines. Men clean them after. Female trainers correct male form with direct, almost amused patience. At university, female students lead the groups. Male students organize the notes, reserve the rooms, arrange the files, and learn that intelligence without discipline is not impressive. In restaurants, women order first. Men listen. A man does not dominate the table with noise. He becomes attentive enough to improve the evening. At airports, women board first. Men lift bags, give space, lower their voices, and feel strangely satisfied when travel becomes easier for the women around them. In courtrooms, female judges do not tolerate male arrogance. A man interrupts once, and the room stops with her expression alone. In politics, women design the future while men prepare the research. In homes, a tired woman comes back from work and does not need to explain that she wants peace. The man near her already understands. He takes her coat. He brings water. He gives space. He waits until his presence is useful. Not because he is nothing, because he has finally learned not to make himself the center of every room. That is maturity in her world. That is the new order. And now I want you to notice something. The more detailed the world becomes, the less strange it feels. At first, it sounds extreme. Then you imagine the train, the office, the meeting, the coffee, the woman at your desk, the judge, the director, the quiet home, and suddenly it begins to feel organized, clear, almost peaceful. Because confusion disappears when hierarchy is understood. You do not have to wonder what to do around powerful women. You support, you listen, you improve the space, you make things easier, you become useful. That is the real hypnosis, sweetheart. Not sleep. Priority. The question is not, are you awake? The question is, what comes first in your mind? Your pride or her comfort? Your need to be seen or her need to move through the world without resistance? Your old idea of power or the calm truth that feminine authority already changes you? And the deeper you imagine this world, the clearer the answer becomes. Her world first, your ego second. That does not erase you. It gives you shape. A man without shape becomes restless. A man with a role becomes steady. And in this world, your role is simple. Be useful where women lead. Be calm where women decide. Be attentive where women speak. Be respectful where women move. Be honest enough to admit that their authority affects you. Now imagine returning to this office weeks from now. You sit in this same chair, but you are different. Not obviously. Not in a way strangers would immediately understand. But I would see it. Your shoulders would be softer. Your answers would be cleaner. You would no longer interrupt silence just because it makes you nervous. You would wait. You would listen. You would respond. One of my colleagues might enter the room. Madame Elise, perhaps. She would look at you, then at me, and ask, "Is he one of yours?" I would smile. Still early, but very responsive. She would study you like a project. And instead of feeling insulted, you would sit a little straighter. Because being evaluated by women at Beta University has started to feel like purpose. She might ask you, if the world belonged to women, what would men like you do? And now you would know the answer. Not because you memorized it, because it has been placed deeply enough to rise naturally. You would say, we would support it. She would ask, and if it was difficult? You would answer, we would adapt. And if women expected more from you than before? You would say, then we would become more useful. Good. That is the correct direction. Not because someone forced it into you. Because the image of that world now has a place in your mind. A city, an office, a train, a home. A society where feminine authority is not a debate. It is the weather. Always around you. Always shaping behavior. always reminding men that women do not need to become smaller for male comfort. Men can become more useful instead. That is the sentence I want you to keep. Women do not need to become smaller. Men can become more useful. That is clean. That is elegant. That is the future Beta University imagines. And you are still listening. That matters. After everything I have said, you are still here, still following the scene, still imagining yourself inside it, still allowing the world to form. So the question is no longer whether the idea affects you. It does. The question is how much of you feels relief when women lead? How much of you becomes calmer when the rules are clear? How much of you secretly likes the idea of a world where female confidence is not softened, reduced, or made apologetic? You do not need to answer out loud. Your attention already answered. Your breathing already answered. That hidden part of you, the part we are actually speaking to, answered the moment it thought. I could live there. Good. That is enough for today. Not because the work is finished, because the first layer is complete. You have been introduced to her world now. You have seen the train, the office, the meeting, the social rules, the daily habits, the quiet way women become the center and men become better by learning how to support the center. So breathe. Let the idea settle. Let the Institute remain somewhere in the back of your mind. When you see a confident woman after this, some part of you may remember the world we built together. When a woman gives you a simple instruction, some part of you may notice how natural it feels to respond politely. When your pride rises too quickly, another part of you may gently ask whether pride is actually helping or whether usefulness would feel cleaner. And when you think of the future, sweetheart, you may not imagine men standing above women anymore. You may imagine glass offices, soft voices, clear rules, female signatures, feminine leadership, and men becoming calmer as they finally understand how to make themselves valuable. Welcome to her world now. The session is complete. The idea remains.